This has been a wonderful text to study, and it reminded me of something that happens regularly in our house, namely on Fridays. I could talk about, the point of this story is not the donut shop or my girls, but you know it's hard to have those, tell these stories without doing that. I've got like a $100 bill from my grandma. And thought it was the coolest thing ever. So with all the money that Borden's parents made, they sent him across the globe on this trip. And on the trip, he became very aware and burdened for people who didn't know Jesus. And so what he had thought was just a fun trip around the world for graduation, he became deeply burdened for people who didn't know Christ. In fact, he turned down taking over the family business. Like I said, he was the heir to this business. He actually turned down taking over the business to become a missionary to Muslims in China. But before he went to China, he did two things. The first thing is he graduated from Yale and Princeton Seminary and finished his studies there. And then on his way to China for his missionary journey, he stopped in Egypt to learn Arabic. To learn the language of the people that he'd be ministering to. He began learning the language, came down with spinal meningitis, and died at the age of 25. No reserves, no retreats, no regrets. I went after what it was that the Lord wanted me to do. And so his story lives on for many reasons, but among the many reasons is the fact that while his life might have seemed like a waste, while he didn't just stay home and take care of the family business, and while it may have seemed like such a waste for turning down such a large fortune and dying before he arrived to where he was going, it wasn't a waste. It was not a waste. So you ask the question, why such a waste of a life? Well, his story isn't great because of who he was. His story doesn't live on because of who he was, but because of who he believed his Savior to be. And who he believed, how worthy he believed his Savior to be to make such a great sacrifice.